some of from George Mason, and I visited Center of Critical Infrastructure, Homeland Security, 27th, and some of you and Stacy, thank you for dealing with my hotel or something like that, and thank you very much. And the topic I'm going to present to you is vulnerability assessments and risk management for critical infrastructures. And in this past 2 years, we initiated a draft of critical infrastructure in Taiwan. So what I'm going to share with you is how we do it, and then what are we going to do in the next year. Why don't I stand here? It's more easier. That's the outlines of the presentation. Taiwan basically is in a very vulnerable place. 70% of population live in more than 2 or 3 natural disasters. So we have been identified the most vulnerable place to live in the world. So in the past 10 years, the governments of Taiwan, they do a lot of research about how to deal with the natural disasters. Some of them are man-made disasters. I'm gonna give you some photos of disaster we met in the past. That's a 2001 September. That's a Nani typhoon. That's a whole subway, and we call mass transportation. That's all gone. It's all gone because the flooding just to the subway. So the whole city just gone for a month. And you cannot take the transportation. You have to drive your car or motorcycle, something like that. Okay, that's a flooding for city, for Taipei City, and that's a Jilong River, and the whole tank containers of the trucks, they block the river, and so the river cannot flood to the ocean. So the whole city just flooding. Okay, that's a map of the flooding. That's another typhoon in 2000. We call Huang-Natural typhoon. That's the whole city just flooding. The railroads just flooded by the flooding and covered by just the railroad. So the transportation of the goods and the population and the people cannot move around. And that's a bridge, and the whole cars just parked to the bridge, because the floods cannot be damaged to the cars. So it become a very large parking lots. Okay, that's a flooding. And a map of flooding. And in the 2009, we have another typhoon, Morak. And that's the path of the typhoon. And when the typhoon approaching to Taiwan, you can slow down and cause a very heavy raining. That's a typhoon, and a very unique rain cloud structure brought a record-breaking rainfalls concentrate in the southern parts of Taiwan. So it caused lots of mudslides and landslides. So that's the records we measured in the past. So the Typhoon Morak broke the records in the past. So most of the damaged area is the southern of the southern parts of Taiwan. And they cover a village. As you can see, the whole mountains and here just lay down to a village. So 400 people died and 53 people missing. That's the area photos for the Shaolin village. The whole village just disappeared. That's the city areas, the bridge just be cut off to the two pieces. So the extreme rainfall in a very short periods damage all the areas, not in the city, but also in the valley. This is another typhoon, Mandula, which we call also damage in some of the areas. And what we learned from the past, we did learn from the lessons in the past damages or disasters. We evacuate the residents before the typhoon hit the island. So that's going to be reduce the damage of the properties and peoples. In Taiwan, most of people live in the cities, Taipei City, Kaohsiung City, or Taichung. So 70% of the population live in the very densely areas. But the problems of the urbanizations will cause a lot of problems, which you could call them multi-disasters or multi-hazards. What do we do for the critical infrastructure? We apply the risk management or risk approach, just like other countries, states. I'm going to skip this one. So what is the risk management? There's a two dimension of the formula. One is probabilities and what will be happened in the past. So in Taiwan, the most damage is natural disasters, typhoon, earthquakes, and landslide, and heavy rains, something like that. So we use the formula of the vulnerability is summation of the probability and the damage. We're going to skip this one. And how do we quantify or identify our critical infrastructures? We come up with the 4 factors. The number one is how many affected population will be affected. Number 2 is economic loss or economic impact. Number 3 is the functions of the service of the governments of the critical infrastructures have to be provided. Number 4 is morale or confidence on the people to government. And we also quantify to categorize to 4 levels. So, for example, for affected populations, if last day 10,000 people, then we will give the numbers of 4, then which means it's very influence or very important. For the economic loss, we will quantify 30 billions, and we will see it's a very important damage. And number 3 is factors of influence. If the time of the damage will cover several years, then we'll give a number 4. If a very several hours, then we can give a 1 score. And also the morale or confidence, that's come from the medians or come from some of the stocks value, and we'll give them a score of number. There are 4 dimensions of the matrix. Then if the critical infrastructure more than 10 scores, then we're considered as a very important critical infrastructure. So we come up the first draft in 2009, which is last year, for 8 sectors in Taiwan. 1 is energy, number 2 is water, communications, information, transportation, governments, emergency systems, healthcare, finance and banking, and last one is industrial parks. So what do we do for the coping capacity? We use the 5 layers for the geographic information system. So we come up with these charts. Probably you cannot see, I'm sorry for that. So there's a line cut in here, In the left-hand side, we have 3 dimensions of the geographic and natural conditions. And the second one is land use or construction environment. The number 3 is social economic factors, which will give the negative factors, because once people live in these areas, they're going to be damaged more and more. In the right-hand side, we give a coping capacity. So we give a disaster prevention system and rescue system. Once they have a more stronger, then we give the plus. So, conclusion. On implementing the concept of risk management to urban disaster prevention and rescue system, it's a trend and a positive act of all advanced countries in the world. In recent years, different countries in the world have been making more and more disaster prevention and rescue studies investigating the risk management structure, and gradually understand the vulnerability assessment is the core of the risk analysis. Risk analysis needs an implementation of vulnerability information to calculate the occurrence probability of the hazards and predict the severity of loss out of the hazards. It is suggested that the local academic units and the supervisory units of the different facilities can put in more resources in the future to conduct related studies and construct the database so as to achieve the actual effects of risk management. Thank you.